morning and welcome to Cover 2 Cook. It is episode 66, January, I believe, 17th, 16th, one of those. Who knows? We're recording on Friday night before we have the divisional round of Saturday NFL. So we're going to be talking about the Saturday of those two games. But before I get too far, let me bring on my co-host, Mr. Tim Cook. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. We got two games. Like I said, we've got two games going on Saturday. Hopefully they are pretty good. We got the number one seeds coming off buys, so we'll see.
Yeah, no, definitely. And before we get started, I wanted to bring up real quick about that the episode we just released, Barstool Chief, getting to talk about Notre Dame football. Me and you have talked all throughout the year of just trying to be as consistent as possible without being just straight Notre Dame. We don't want to be a Notre Dame podcast, but they make it to the championship game. We get to bring him on. What a cool atmosphere that was. I do appreciate everyone getting to watch it and listen to it. So it was really cool. And I do want to give another thanks to Barstool Chief for coming on because that was really cool.
Yes, it was. It was very interesting to hear another perspective of another fan and how he was just reeling off names from the 90s, 2000, and just how much he knew as far as how the game was being played right now, for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think he was a great person to put into Here Comes the Irish because when you do watch that and you see all the history he knows, it's like, I don't know if I know all that history. I just know of like the current team and what stuff like that. But let's get started with the NFL. This is an NFL podcast as well, too. So let's talk about Saturday. Saturday, we start off with the Texans and the Chiefs. What do you think about this game?
The Texans coming off the big win against the Chargers, where the Texans were down 6-0. They rallied late in the second quarter, ended up just pulling away from the Chargers, while the Chiefs, they're coming off this bye. So they have not played in 3 weeks. That's going to be tough, I think. They didn't play week 18, majority of the starters. Their practice squad, I call them practice squad because they didn't show up. That game was not a game. And then they had to bye last week, and then now they're playing. So are they going to show a little bit of rust for this game?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, yeah, the team that played against Denver is definitely not the team you're going to see for that first round. And if you do, they're going to get bounced real quick. But let's just remember, this is the Chiefs that have won 2 Super Bowls back-to-back, okay? Patrick Mahomes knows what to do. Andy Reid knows what to do. This coaching staff is still intact. This is the same team. And this is probably the worst team they've had out of those 3 years. And they have the best record in the NFL. I mean, best record in the AFC. When you look at this game, Texans are going to have to play out of their ass. Well, what did they just do against the Chargers? They played out of their ass in that game. I just unfortunately think this is going to come to an end because of the cold weather, and they're bringing you to the deep end to drown you. What do you? What else about this?
I think also too the Texans are going to have to stop that running attack of Pacheco and Hunt. I mean, they're going to have to slow them down, and I think also too force Mahomes into interceptions. He is known to throw an interception. He hasn't in the last few games, but if they can get some turnovers from him and keep them in the game, I think that they're going to have to play keep away from Mahomes. Run the ball and just run the ball and keep that ball away from him. Don't let him. So that's a big deal. The running attack for the Chiefs are only averaging 4 yards a carry. That's not very much. So now you're going to have to depend on Mahomes to throw the ball down the field to Kelsey, to Brown, to Worthy. I know he's got a lot of weapons. That's another deal too. Is maybe force him to scramble out of the pocket and what he does. This is going to be a tough game for the Texans, I think.
Oh, I totally agree. And I think when you look at it too, the Texans started slow against the Chargers. They cannot do that with Kansas City because, like you just said, Kansas City hasn't played in 3 weeks. They might come out a little rusty, and that's expected, right? But if you come out slow too as well, Texans, that's a close game. And you're not going to win that second half of the game. You kind of need to get out to a lead and light a fire under the Chiefs' butt to get them going in this game because otherwise, I think the Chiefs, if they come out strong, it's going to be over quick. And the point spread in this game is crazy. All the point spreads are actually kind of crazy a little bit in my mind for a divisional round. Now, we're coming off of college football playoffs where we saw all these teams get these buys. Now, there's only 2 teams that had a bye, Detroit and Chiefs. which both teams will talk about. But I don't see them losing these games, okay? These are in the NFL, it's different than what the college football went through. But I didn't even expect the Texans to make it to this round, yet alone to think that they were actually going to come in and have a chance in this game. I think if Pat Mahomes and them just put everything together like they usually do, I can see this being quick in the first half, kind of getting out of hand.
Right. I think also, too, I think C.J. Stroud's going to have to get Nico Collins involved. I think Nico Collins is going to have a monster game. Yeah. A monster. And so is a C.J. Stroud. I think they're just going to have to play above their skis and hope for the best, and hopefully that they can slow down this Chiefs offense. I mean, that's going to be a big deal. I mean, they're going to have to try to slow them down.
Well, when you look at both teams this year, they've dealt with injuries, right? The Chiefs had what was his name that was going off?
Hollywood Brown.
Oh yeah, Hollywood Brown. But who's the one?
Pacheco. Yeah.
No, the wide receiver that got hurt, the knee injury.
Yeah, Hollywood Brown.
No, he had the clavicle. It wasn't Juju. It was Rika. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Like the wide receiver that was a slot one that before Xavier Worthy got going. The one that got in trouble with the law with driving fast. I can't even think of his name right now. But yes, but you know what I'm talking about. They had the injuries. You had Hollywood Brown, you had Pacheco. You know, you have your left tackle out where now they're playing this other left tackle. They've had injuries throughout this year, and it's like it just didn't stop. It was the next guy up. Now you look at the Texans, Stephon Diggs goes down, and then Tank Dell gets hurt, which then that was the game that these last time these guys played when you saw C.J. Stroud be emotional about what happened in that situation. They've had so many injuries, but they took a step back. Now we're trying to see if they can get going. I will say I think the matchup here for this one is those DNs versus the O-line of Kansas City. You have a left tackle that doesn't usually play left tackle. I can't think of his name right now. So can Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson get to the quarterback and make Pat run? Because that's the thing that we talked about yesterday with Barstool Chief. Pat Mahomes can run, but you haven't really seen it as much as you needed to recently because his O-line is keeping that pocket good for him. You're going to have to get him out of the pocket a little bit. Make him feel, get those happy feet to throw a ball that he shouldn't be throwing in that time of the game.
Right, most definitely. I mean, also, too, you talked about the last time they played. I mean, the Texans were right in this game the last time they played. I think it was 14-13 at one time or 16-13 Texans. I mean, they had them. And then after that injury, that team was a totally different team. And I think the Chiefs took advantage of it. And then by the fourth quarter, they just kind of, and what they do with the Chiefs, they dink and doink it down the field. Yep. They'll get that third down, and then he'll throw it to Kelsey. And and that's what they did against them last time. Maybe you got to get them off the field, and maybe you might have to play keep away from them. That's the biggest deal.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a great playoff game. It's going to be cold. You have a little bit of the weather in there. I don't know if Taylor Swift's coming. I don't really give a shit. I think she's good for the NFL because it's one of these things you're getting more people to view the NFL because of that. But at the same time, I don't need to see her 50 times on the screen. What are you looking at for betting this game?
Texans are 8-2 against the spread in the last 10 games, while the Chiefs are 3-10 against the spread in the last 10. I think the Chiefs win by 2 scores, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not a blowout. So give me the Chiefs, and I'll give you the 8.5. I think they're just that much better. With a week off or after a bye, Andy Reid is 32-7 regular season and the postseason, including the Super Bowl. I seen that stat today. Yeah. That's unheard of.
Yeah, that's tough. And I mean, like we said, 2 trophies in a row, going for the third. It's one of these things where your stats will look good, obviously, because you've done it for a while. I mean, the Pat Mahomes stat where he's not throwing an interception in the divisional round, hasn't lost a game in the divisional round. I don't see the Chiefs losing this game. I think the first half prop bet in this one, maybe take the Texans in that one. But for the overall, I definitely agree. 8.5 for the Chiefs in this game. I think it's going to be one of these games where we're going to be reminded who the Chiefs are, right? I think it's just one of these statement games where as we move on in the playoffs, all year we've kind of, and the back of my head as a gambler, and it sucks because when you go put down bets like this, I'm sitting here being like, I've said that once. I've said that twice. I've said that 13 damn times about this Chiefs all year. Just remember, they're going to remind you who they are. And all year they've just skimmed off by the little bit of their teeth.
Yeah.
I hope not, because I'm taking the 8.5 as well for the Chiefs in this game.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be too much. It'll be too much. I mean, I think the Houston will just they'll fold by the fourth quarter, and it'll be all Chiefs. They'll be dinking and doinking just like they did last time. So
Yeah. Well, and it'll be cold, and I think this team definitely changed. The Houston Texans. I love the coach's comments. We can't control the weather, so we're gonna control things. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now. You haven't played in many cold games if you start with that mentality, because when you get into those and you get hit a couple times, it feels differently.
right.
But that takes us to the night game on Fox. Now that 3:30 game is on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and ABC. The night game at 7 p.m. is Commanders versus the Lions. Well, guess what? We don't got to worry about cold here because it's in a dome. It'll be feeling like 70 degrees and sunny on that day because you're in a dome. Lions coming off a huge win against the Vikings. Huge win. I think they have the momentum right now, but just wait a second because this rookie quarterback is just doing things that we're just kind of sitting there being like, is it? No, he does it. Okay. Is it? Oh, okay, he does. He just keeps performing when we need him to perform. I think this game might be a little bit closer than what everyone's thinking, but the Detroit Lions getting a week off is going to help them get back. But what do you think about this game?
I think the key for the Commanders. Keep doing what you're doing with Daniels. It's working. I mean, he is not blinking. I mean, they had the camera on him last week in the game, and they had the camera on for almost a minute. They said he blinked twice.
Yep.
I mean, he is in line. He is in step. He knows what to do. I mean, and that's great coaching by Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn. I mean, they've got this kid ready to go. The last 5 games, the Commanders have the last 5 games, the Commanders' games have been decided by 6 points or less.
Yep.
And they've won them all. I mean, they know when the pressure comes, they have stepped up. I think that's going to be a key as well. For the Lions coming off the bye, I think Dan Campbell will have his team ready to play. I mean, it showed against when they came up against the Vikings, they were ready to play. I mean, that week off, it may show a little rust, but I think with that crowd there on a Saturday night, that crowd will be loud and ready just to really get into the game.
Well, it just feels different in Detroit this year, right? Like, obviously, we've talked about it all year. Last year, they kind of exceeded expectations by making it as far as they did. This year, we came in and said, this is what we expect. We expect the Lions to make it to the Super Bowl. That was the NFC team, right? At the same time, they had all these injuries come through. We saw how big of a difference that was by bringing back the long-haired, Thor-looking whatever for the Lions and how good he did against the Vikings, right? At the same time, the Commanders, if they want to win this game, you got to stop kicking field goals in the red zone. You just saw what the Lions did against the Vikings, right? 3 red zone trips and what was it, 3 points or maybe 6 points at most. You got to score touchdowns here. And I think I'm saying CJ Stroud because he does have that element. But I think he's going to have to run. The quarterback's going to have to run for Washington. He's going to have to take off when he has to because they're going to bring pressure. They bring pressure all throughout the year, even with their injuries, without the injuries. If your first read ain't there, second read ain't there, get going. Get going because they're coming. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. At the same time, a little bit in the back of my, they're the last NFC North team because we thought, oh my God, NFC North might be a Vikings lose, Green Bay loses. Now we're like, okay, now let's go Lions, I guess. If the Lions can make it to the Super Bowl, they might actually get back to being damn near fully healthy from all their injuries. So I kind of root for it because you're seeing a less superior of a Lions team in this game. But if that defense can hold them, that offense they'll put up points. There's no worry about that. And
they were talking that if they make the Super Bowl, you know who could come back?
Aiden
Hudson.
Yeah.
And that's good. That is a big key. Now, how what are you going to get out of him if they do make the Super Bowl? I mean, he's not going to be in game shape, no way. So, I mean, you don't know how many plays. And also, too, the Lions get back David Montgomery this week as well. So now you've got Knuckles and what was their deal?
Sonic and Boom or whatever. Yeah. Just dumb. Just run the damn ball and shut the hell up.
But now if you get him back, now that running is going to be really good, really good. I mean, so
for a slight second there, I was actually going for Detroit, and then you just said that nickname shit, and piss on these guys. Let's go Commanders. I almost said the original team, which would have got canceled. We can't have them. We got a little momentum going. We can't, But like, I don't want this. I mean, Dan Campbell is what every coach wants. Would you want Dan Campbell in Denver?
Right now, yes.
Yeah. I'll take him in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like, he's an atmosphere guy. He's a culture guy. But he's perfect in Detroit. And everything just seems perfect for them. Jared Goff. We got Sam Darnold. Oh, we could do what he did. Obviously, we can't. Like, it's just one of these things where, like, everything's going well for them. I hope it keeps going well for them. But at the same time, it'd be cool seeing a rookie kind of win another game here.
Yeah, but I want to see the Lions win because the Lions have been the laughingstock of the league for 60 years. I mean, they have won I don't know if they've even won a championship. I don't think they've been in like a NFL championship since 57. So, I mean, that's 60 years. I mean, this team has been a laughingstock. I named my fantasy team Team Matt Millen. You know why I did that? Because that was the last team that went 0-16. So, I mean, they've been in the depths of putrid, just god-awful, not good. And to come out of this, I really hope they do win. I hope they make it to at least to the Super Bowl. If they do win it, I mean, I don't know. Also, too, that running attack, we were talking about that before, the running attack, their run defense for Washington is not good. I think the Lions average like 140 yards of rushing, and that's about what Washington gives up. So that's not good. I mean, their DNs, I'm afraid that they're just going to get pushed around, and they're just going to be able to run roughshod all over that Washington defense. I think the DN, or not DBs, they're going to have to make a lot of tackles on Saturday.
Well, and I think when you look at the Lions team, you're looking at a team that I see, maybe 2 years ago, because Tyreek left 2 years ago. But like Tyreek, and I look at the Kansas City Chiefs 2 years ago. They got Jameson Williams, that's your speed burner. You got your consistent wide receiver with some more St. Brown. And then you got the tight end. Laporta is a great tight end. So you just got everything there. Oh, wait, then you got a 1-2 punch in the backfield. And I'll tell you right now, it sucks to be David Montgomery because you go out on injury, and then you find out Jahmyr Gibbs, when he's by himself, is kind of a dog. And then the third string that they got that was undrafted, he's kind of a dog. So then at the same time, you're like, you could just pound the rock on this team if you want to. You said keep away in the other game. I could see the Lions kind of doing that, but I don't know if they need to anymore. No. If that defense performed the way it did, against the Vikings, they are just such a force to be reckoned with, because they come with so much pressure all the time that if he can't get out of the pocket and run, it's a lot to take on as a rookie.
Well, that's the next deal too, is that I think that's the key for the Lions is you got to keep him under control. You can't let him do like the Patrick Mahomes kind of deal, like they did against the Bucs. You can't let him, get down the sideline or make a quarterback RPO kind of deal where he just takes the ball off and runs. You can't do that because the Lions will get in trouble if they let them do that. They're gonna. I think the Commanders are going to score. I can see this game as going in the over. I can see the Commanders scoring 20 to 25 points, 24 points, but I can see the Lions scoring, putting up a 40 burger. I really could.
See, and I was actually going the opposite way on this, right? But like when we were talking, I was just going to go into the betting segment. If it was at 57, 58, I'd probably go hit the under. But 55 is, it's like Vegas knows what the hell they're doing, huh? It's like they just, because in this game, like, I don't like the point spread, 10 or 9.5, right? 10 points, either way, you're looking at. I don't like it because I can see Washington just, for some reason, having a fight. But I feel like on this game, I have to go to the Lions 9.5 because of that, what you just said earlier in this. That place is going to be rocking. Yeah. When they played the Vikings, it was just a sample, or just a little appetizer. Your little mod sticks before your steak when it comes out of what this game's going to be like. And God forbid they win this game, what that next game's going to even look like. So they're dying for it. I'm taking the Lions 9.5 in this one.
Another thing, too, I think is going to be a key is fourth downs. Washington is 20 for 23 on fourth downs. That's 80-some%. And the Lions go for it on fourth down 40-some% of the time.
Yep.
So that's going to be something as a fan, going to watch when is the key to getting them fourth downs in there. Yeah. That's going to be a big one too. Commanders have won 4 of the last 5 as underdogs on the road following a win. while the Lions have covered the spread in 7 of the last 8 when playing with rest advantage. I think the extra time off for the Lions and playing at home, I like the Lions given the 9.5. I think they just run away. Like I said, I think I could see this being a 48-24 game. I really could. I could see them just blowing them out.
And I will say these are going to be 2 good games though. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think they definitely set it up for Sunday to have really good games, and
Yes.
Saturday just kind of give these teams. It does kind of suck for the Commanders and Texans. They play on, and then they're coming back on a Saturday. But these
Right.
teams have rested, so you can't let them sit till Sunday.
No.
But I think there'll be good games. But Sunday is going to be the day for the games. I really feel like, and it sucks because it's a little sad to think that we're already at the point now where we only talk about 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. When 3 weeks ago, not even, okay, maybe a little bit longer than that, but a month ago, we were talking about a whole slated day of college football, a whole slated day of NFL on Sunday. It was so much fun, but unfortunately, this is where we come to. We do have a little bit more other NFL stuff, so we've kind of brought up the coaching carousel. More to be with that. We kind of brought up on the last podcast about Deion Sanders possibly going to Dallas and just being like, okay. So it sounds like more that it's not going to go that way. Sounds like Kellen Moore's going to be going that way. Do you still think Dallas is making a better decision by not going with Deion, or do you think that they could have worked out with Deion?
If it was a different owner, he cannot. Jerry Jones can't do the circus. I mean, he does the circus. He wants to be the puppet master, and I think Deion would take some of that lackluster or that spotlight away from him. So I don't think it's going to do. The rumor is that it's going to be Kellen Moore, just because I think Jerry wants a familiar person that's been there before. That he's played there. He's coached there as OC. I think he has hired since Jimmy Johnson people that have been a little bit lower tier coaching. You had your Jason Garrett. You had, Mike McCarthy. He was a big name because he won a Super Bowl. But he's had Dave Campo. He's had some players. Wade Phillips.
Yeah.
I think the biggest one since then, maybe even without Jimmy Johnson, is Parcells. He had Parcells there, but I think Parcells just got tired of the BS that goes with Jerry Jones. So I think it would have been a good hire. I don't know if Sanders' shtick can work in the NFL instead of college. So I don't know if that would have worked if you could have got over with him, at that. But I heard the leading candidate right now is Kellen Moore. So.
Well, and I don't get the shtick, right? The whole thing, because now you're hearing reports of. So I was watching Pat McAfee. They had Pac-Man Jones on, him talking about it because he's in the inner circle of them, and Pac-Man is saying that the only way Deion wants to coach the NFL is if he can coach his sons. So if he can't coach his sons, he ain't. So then that obviously starts a lot more rumors. Will they trade? Well, they're not going to do shit like that.
No.
The problem with the Cowboys right now is half of their salary is wrapped up in 3 players.
Yep.
You're not going to have a guy come in as a veteran of a head coaching position. So that takes out Pete Carroll, right? That takes out some of these veteran coaches or someone that's done it and even failed. They're not going to go back to try to fail there. You're going to need a person that's a yes man. You're going to need a person that's going to say, oh, yes, sir, Jerry Jones. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Because that's job security too. Kellen Moore's not an idiot. And when he left, they weren't happy about it. It was one of those situations when he left, it was like, okay, like now what do we do? I think this whole circus that we're talking about is definitely, but you cannot say a different owner because Jerry Jones is the star. He is the star. Yeah. Like literally the symbol and literally the person. Like he is just that guy. And you either love him or hate him, but at the same time, he's always in the news. It's good publicity. Yeah. All publicity is good publicity for him. Yes. So I just don't think Deion's, because now I hear about this NIL stuff at Colorado and stuff, and it made me feel like this was him moving on. So when I heard that, I was like, he's going to the Cowboys. And then hearing Pac-Man being like, no, it ain't happening. Because isn't that what happened at Jackson State? He was like, I got to go on because they just don't have the resources. They don't have this. You haven't won shit.
No.
You had a Heisman and then the runner-up Heisman on the same damn team.
Yeah.
And you didn't win anything. I mean, you didn't win the Big 12, which the Big 12 didn't do shit in college football.
Right.
So, like, I don't get where, like, everyone's driven to want to have this coach. Yes, he's electric. I think he's great in college because players want to play for him.
Right.
But in the NFL, that's not how it goes. We don't give a shit what you done.
Yeah.
We make millions of dollars to play on that day.
Right.
But
Yeah.
so that
I agree. I agree. And that just shows there too. Two players don't make a winning program. You got to have 50. You got to have 52 in the NFL, but you got to have more than just two players that are great athletes, because your team is not going to be. I mean, you need more than just that.
Well, and I think they're going to have a decent amount of people getting drafted. That Horn kid for wide receiver. They had kids that are, and let's be honest, Shiloh's not that good. Like, he's not NFL talent. He's going to get in because his dad is who he is.
Yep.
But like, he's not NFL talent.
Right.
But like, and we'll see how Shadur is, because I don't think he's a number one pick. I just don't think he's that guy.
He's got a hell of an arm, but I mean, there's Jay Cutler had a hell of an arm.
Oh, you know what? Don't even bring up the Jay Cutler. The only reason I say this is because I love that dude. He is a person where you love hate on him, but I didn't really care. Didn't know much.
His ex-wife's smoking hot, so that's all. I mean, I don't care for him, but his wife or ex-wife's smoking hot. So
well, and that show made it all. That show when how he was a regular person just wanting to live his life, and then there's cameras rolling around.
Right.
I think when you look at the other NFL positions, right, or the NFL head coaching positions, you got the Raiders open. There's a lot of people saying that Brady's going there, or the coach for the Lions or whatever.
Ben Johnson.
He's going there. What were you hearing about the Bears? You were kind of telling me something about
the Bears. I think they're down to two people. Inside information from that Jordan Schultz out of Fox Sports. It's McCarthy and Ben Johnson. So right now, and maybe Flores, could be a third one that could, move it around. But that's they're down to three people. What I've seen so far.
Well, and it's just like getting drafted, right? Like when you're number one pick, you're going to the worst team. Okay. So because they earned that. It's not a lottery. Right. It's not we don't pull a ball out of a thing. Right. They're the worst team. Well, why would I want to go to the Raiders? If I'm Ben Johnson, I would rather go to Chicago. The only problem with Chicago is what we talked about Barstool Chief yesterday.
Yeah.
It's just toxic. Yeah. From start to finish, it's toxic. So you're going to need a culture guy in there. I don't think either one of these guys are culture guys. I truly don't. I kind of do like the whole philosophy of Aaron Rodgers is going to possibly be a free agent.
Right.
Davante Adams is possibly going to go out of his contract. And then you got the coach. You just said his name. The one that used to coach in Green Bay, and coach
McCarthy.
McCarthy. What if they all team up somewhere and kind of do their thing? I think one of the hidden ones though is the Jaguars. I mean, they paid a lot of money for this Lawrence, which dirty hit or not, whatever. How does he bounce back? But like, I think that's a hidden gem of a coaching position right now because they got talent. Brian Thompson Jr. had a great year. You got Trevor Lawrence. But it's all about the Bears, the Raiders, and the Cowboys. And the Cowboys are just, I mean, they're interviewing people that like nobody's even heard of. Like I saw as a quarterback coach of the Washington Commanders. Who gives a shit? Like, it's not even Cliff. It's some guy even lower than him.
Yeah.
But that's their job.
Jacksonville. That's another one that's been kind of, and you're also talking. Aaron Glenn is probably. Yeah. They said that Johnson and Aaron Glenn are going to get jobs this year. It's their time. The circle of coaching is it's come around to them.
Yeah,
and they are going to get jobs somewhere. I don't know if I heard Aaron Glenn possibly to Jacksonville, but I think they're going to go offense again. I think you got to get Lawrence back straight. Yeah. You've got to get you've got a decent wide receivers in that. You've got to get him back, his mind focused back to where he was 2 years ago when they made the playoffs.
Well, or you do what the Commanders did and get a defensive head coach with a great offensive coordinator, but expect to lose that offensive coordinator. Because that's the one that I'm surprised is not getting interviews is Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, we're just not hearing his name as frequent as we thought. I thought Brian Flores would be in a lot more names out there. I've heard that the Bears. That's maybe, and I think the whole of going in the division, what's the last division you want to be in right now? I think it's the NFC North. I don't know if I want to be in where the Vikings are dealing with their situation. The Lions dealing with theirs. Now, at the same time, the Lions this year, and this game will show a lot, but it's win or all. You got to win
Yep.
it because you're going to lose a lot. And
Right.
you're going to lose a lot of coaching. Can you keep that team still structured as much as possible? I don't know. But, like, when you look at the coaching, like, do I want to go out to Vegas and have to deal with Patrick Mahomes, deal with the
I'm glad you
Chargers,
said that. Yep.
and deal with them?
With
Like,
Harbaugh,
yes.
you've got Andy Reid, Harbaugh, Peyton.
Yep.
You know, and then you're going to come out there. That's good. And then you've got all three. They're all three in that division have great quarterbacks, or soon to be. You know, you got Knicks, you've got Herbert, you've got Mahomes. You know, and you got what do you got? Raiders? Nobody.
Yeah.
You know, you ain't got any. I mean, you know, hopefully they can get somebody in the draft, but yeah, that coaching is going to have to be. And that's the bad deal about the Raiders is Mark Davis. Yikes! I mean, he's just not. I mean, that's why they've lost for so many years. And you can tell certain teams that's why they're losing is their ownership. They try to meddle into this. Like you hire GMs, coaches, and everything. Let them do it. Let them do the job.
Yep.
It's the people that try to get involved. Jerry Jones, Mark Davis, people like that. That's why they haven't won in 20, 30 years. Woody Johnson from the Jets. Now he's starting to get involved. You know, it's just you hire these people to do a job. Let them do their job.
Well, and I'll say this too, right before we get out of here. Name one organization that's looking for a head coach right now that has a good owner. Name one. Because Dallas is a problem. I think Jerry Jones is a good owner. I just think right now it's just being too toxic. The Raiders is not a good situation. The Bears is not a good situation. The Jaguars, literally the owner is saying that if the head coach can come to him with a reason to get rid of the general manager, he'll listen. The general manager was on the call. The Jets, like, what do you?
That's hilarious.
Like, what do you?
I didn't hear that one, but that's hilarious.
Like, what do you? There's, and I get it. It's all about culture, and when it's good, it's good. I mean, look at the Lions right now. It is good, man. It's good to be a Lions fan. Blah, blah, blah. But man, you all forgot. Like, you guys, like, you got hit in the Men in Black screen. Like, it was bad. It was real bad.
It was real bad.
There was a lot of NFL fans pissed that you were taking a Thanksgiving game because then I had to watch you get slaughtered.
Yeah,
so,
right. I mean, they were wearing bags over their heads. Fans were.
Yeah. So
you know, a lot of Thanksgiving games.
So don't forget that, like, a lot of the ownership has a lot to play with this. And my problem right now, as a Vikings fan, is why is Kevin O'Connell not signed yet? What's taking up? What's taking up so long? Are we actually going to trade a head coach? Because I'll tell you right now, boys. I don't know where I go. I don't know. I can't be a Packers fan. Even though I live in Wisconsin now, I can't be a Packers fan.
Right.
And doesn't sound very good down south in Illinois either with Barstool Chief. But, like, it's one of these things where in my head, I'm like, why is that the Wolves? Get that done. Get that done. Get it over with. Mm-hmm. Just keep a good culture there and know what you're going into. So some of these head coaches, I'm surprised are not getting. I think what the Patriots did, they got a little bit of their bandwagon back with their fans by hiring Vrabel because of whatever happened with that documentary and bullshit and Belichick, all that. Right. That's what some of these organizations need to do. Jerry Jones, pull the trigger. We'll talk about it, but pull the trigger. Let's get this done so that you can know who's going to be in the office.
And another thing, too, you haven't heard about Belichick's name. You know, he hasn't coached yet at UNC. There still is a buyout on this, too.
Yeah. I don't see it. They're investing too much. Yeah. And what I mean by that is he's on the road too much. Right. He's been on the road recruiting too much. I do think it's hilarious to imagine Bill Belichick. I can only imagine if I was an 18-year-old 5-star athlete sitting in my living room and having the driest guy in the whole world try to tell me why I need to come to his college. Look at Lane Kiffin. Look at these head coaches. They're so, hey, I'm cool with the times. TikTok.
They're salesmen. They're salesmen.
And then you get
and Belichick's not.
You're gonna have Bill come in there and say, "Oh, the cookies are good." Is your mouth moving? Are you dead?
Right.
Are you having a stroke? So.
The only thing that sells on him is the Super Bowl. So that's why the kid will go to UNC. He's won 7. He'll get you to the next level. Plain simple.
Well, you hope. You haven't seen it yet, so you hope.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, and all it does is take is winning one season and change the organization forever. So I mean, look at Notre Dame. I mean, what we talk about the future looks like for Notre Dame is crazy because of just this year. But that is episode 66. We have 2 games on Saturday night. We have 2 games on Sunday. We'll talk about that tomorrow on Sunday. On Monday, we're going to do a pregame of National Championship. talk about, some of the questions that we asked Barstool's Chief. We're going to ask ourselves, when did we become fans? When did we do that? Just so you guys can get to know us a little bit more as well. And then we're going to do the Facebook Live. So we're going to share that of our reaction. I'm going to go to church on Sunday. I'm going to Mass on Sunday. I'm doing everything I need to do so that I just don't get embarrassed on this Facebook Live, okay? Right. I just want to be able to just sit there and watch the game instead of being like, damn it. So make sure to tune in. We do appreciate all the fans. I hope you guys have a great and warm day because it is cold. Or it's a little bit warm.
No. Oh, I lost you, buddy. Yeah, it's going to get cold. It's going to get cold. So by next week. So.
All right, I'm back. I don't know what happened there, but want to thank everyone. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye. Oh.